I can guarantee nobody, I guarantee, is watching or seen before, unless they've been hanging around out here a lot. We're going to show you some things with dogs that you have never ever seen. So call your friends, tell them to get on there right now, and then we'll
Come on.
So we're gonna delve in. We did drives, a lot on the drives, and now we're gonna jump into the most talked about, discussed, disagreed on thing. Well, second most after drives, and that is
And the environment influences us. Genes determine how it affects us.
right.
Genes determines how it affects us.
Yeah.
So basically it's 40-60 split usually, I would say.
Yeah, scientifically, everything they've studied since time began comes back to the same thing. It's 40-60. It's 40% genetics. I hate to tell, sorry, all you Malinois breeders who thinks you got to have genetics to do something, and 60% acquired or learned behavior. Your training, your education, your environment.
So like saying again, the environment influences us.
Yes.
Genes determine how it affects us.
Right.
Or dogs.
Right.
Not us,
or
but
dogs.
dogs.
Right.
It's the same thing with humans, but you know.
Yeah, well, and humans as well, but think of it this way. Your genetics they're not only what you're capable of doing, they are the limit of what you're capable of doing. They give you the ability to be a 10 in the Winter Olympics, right?
Yep.
They give you the genetics to give you the ability to be Joe Burrow on the football field. But that's just your potential limits.
Potential.
The way you achieve these things is from education, environment, training, and practice. So your genes will give you your potential. Your training, your education, and your learning will take you to that potential.
So your environment. Where you put your environment to make you get to that point. Different. How does that? Many roads taken.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah, many roads taken.
Just one chosen.
Yeah, and so when we're talking about dogs, there's an old Southern tradition, the way it always worked. Dogs didn't have a job. It was what we call the old Southern farm dog, and you had your black mouth cur, and he could babysit the kids or go find you a squirrel for supper. You had the Catahoula cur down in the Louisiana swamps, and they could bring the cattle in, or they could trail a coon for you and find you that. Then you had the English white over in the Carolinas and the Floridas, the big bulldog. English white, we now would call them an American bulldog. They can babysit the kids and then go out and drag you down a 200-pound boar for Christmas ham. So they were always versatile.
So you're saying is dogs not specifically bred or anything for a certain task?
No, not in the South.
Shouldn't be anywhere, actually.
Yeah, they were utilitarian. And if you think dogs have to be bred to perform a certain task, like, what's our favorite thing? Security dogs? Protection dogs?
Yeah.
We're going to show you one man stopper that you never dreamed of being a man stopper. And anyone who thinks this little guy's not a man stopper is welcome to come out here and try. We can set up a little course they can run 25 feet, and we'll give them a $100 bill at the end of that 25 feet.
I'll even buy you a coffee.
Yeah, and buy coffee. Okay, so we got our technician, Miss Carol Ann. You ready to show us what we got here?
Yes.
Everybody. Oh yeah, turn the lights off. See what we got. Bear with us, everybody. You know how lucky we always are. Oh, forgot about that one. Can you see what you're doing, Carol Ann?
Yes, but it wasn't playing.
Uh-oh. You know how good we are starting our new techie stuff, folks, so.
Yeah, but it should have played.
Uh-oh.
Mina, let him out.
We're trying to get there. There we go. I see it a little bitty. You saw it. It was there real small. There we go. Can you make it bigger?
Gonna do it?
Hmm? You need some light? There we go. Is that it? All right. So this is a little dog we trained. It'll start moving.
It's a thinking.
There you go. This little dog we trained about 8-10 years ago.
Oh! You recover from that, bitch?
Almost. I'm getting there. That's little Cooper. That's little Cooper. We'll show you another one here in a minute. So that's a Jack Russell Terrier. And I defy anyone to tell me that he's not capable of being considered a man stopper. Right?
You got stopped.
You got stopped, you know, so and you know, over the years I've trained probably a half a dozen little bitty guys to do that.
Right.
You know, which is why sometimes I talk like this.
It's like Mighty Mouse, right?
Yeah, kind of like Mighty Mouse, but you know, I don't think my wife's got a boyfriend on the side, but I hope not. You know, I don't know. Anyway, so the dog's abilities are limited only by the jobs the human expects them to do. Period.
Size don't matter.
Size don't matter. The dog will do anything you ask him to if you know how to get the you know what tasks you want the dog to perform. That's the secret. As far as the breed for a specific job, remember what I said. Catahoula cur will bring the cattle in from the swamp, babysit the kids, trail you a coon, and stop any fool who comes and tries to sneak up on that Cajun's back porch.
So basically, you'll get out of it what you put into it.
Yeah.
A dog is limitless, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, it doesn't matter what kind of dog it is.
No.
It's what you teach the dog.
The dogs are only limited by the intelligence of the human.
Environment.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and if the human is only limited by his ego and his intelligence, so some dogs can be really accomplished and others, not so much. But
and they think they are, but you know. Hey,
yeah,
but
that's
hey.
right. That's right. Now, and so we're going to go a step further with this breed thing. Let's take a sure enough, dyed in the wool, only been used, been around for 100 years, only been used for bird dog hunting. And this is a little incident that occurred with our ace #1 agitator when we were working with this other dog, a little German short hair pointer. And sometimes our little agitator just jumps in and decides she wants to work a dog because she thinks she can work a dog. So I'll let you guys be the judge as to whether or not A, this breed can do more than just find birds, and B, whether or not our ace agitator can really just get any dog to do it. Go, Miss Carol Ann.
All right, lights out, Sinclair.
Mr. Sinclair.
Mr. Sinclair.
Mr. So as I said, we were just working with this little short hair pointer out here, and Miss Mina decided to jump in, totally unrehearsed, and that's what you get.
A bird dog?
Yeah, German short hair pointer.
Looks like a bite dog to me.
Yeah,
Good form, you get good form there, bud.
I think
Look at
that's
that.
not a short hair pointer. That's a German Shepherd pointer. You see that? Good old Buzz go to town. Now Mina's gonna work that dog up, get his attention, and she's gonna work him. There you see, perfect prey drive, kicking it in, making it work. And you see this dog's gonna kill that rabbit. He don't know it's not a bird. So, right there we have the foundation we need to take the dog to the next step. We've got our foundation, we've got our behavior we want, and all we have to do from here is increase it. So, what do you think? Is there a lot of stuff about breeds that's not necessarily the facts?
Facts of fact. Right?
Facts of fact?
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
As for nature versus nature umbrella?
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of myths out there about dog training myths, you know.
So facts are not facts. Facts could be a myth.
They could be.
Okay.
So basically,
Show me.
You know, dog training myths. People talk about, you know, my dog's all like this. It's all how you raise your dog. It's all nurture. Puppies are a blank slate. There are no bad dogs, only bad owners. Your dog sucks because you suck. You know, Doberman, Shepherds, Pit Bulls are inherently dangerous. They are dangerous because that's how their genes are, and that's it. You know, oh, he's just a good dog, not aggressive at all. You know, there's not a bad bone in his body. Yeah, so, you know, that goes both ways, nurture and nature, basically, you know. So all these sayings and sentiments, scary or comforting, aren't quite true. Break them down, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, yeah. So if you take and look at any dog you've got, it's really all about communication, which, by the way, I got a call from Book Baby. They got a new shipment of these books in. Amazon's got theirs almost in. Communication is the foundation for everything we do with animals. It's the foundation for everything we do with each other. It's what takes us to the next level. And, you know, I'm not talking about some high-handed, lofty idea. I'm talking about just, hey, dog, you know, and he picks up on a tone of your voice. It doesn't take much more than common sense. Again, I'll quote my favorite cow dog trainer in the world, Mr. McCallum out of Australia. Tony McCallum always said the best dog trainers he ever saw in his life. This man who's third generation living with cow dogs. Said the best dog trainers he ever saw in his life were a 10-year-old boy. 10-year-old kids just say, hey, dog, and they just go and do what they got to do, and they act like, you know, they expect the dog to follow them. The dog always does.
Mm-hmm.
So you take that attitude, knowing that you're communicating to the dog, can learn just like Mina can learn. You saw her up there working that sleeve with that German short-hair pointer. She learned those things. Now, I'll admit, she learned them by sitting back, just watching her dad over here do it with other dogs, and then jumped up one day and said, I can do that too, but she learned. The same thing applies to your dog. Sometimes, in fact, it happened today. Carol Ann's got 2 dogs she's training, and one's giving her, their brother and sister, and one's giving her a bit of a hard time, so I told her, one of my favorite tricks is, if I've got a dog who's not learning, I'll put it in a kennel, a crate, pen, whatever, next where it can see out, and I'll get one of my really good dogs, and I'll go out there and put the good dog through its paces, play with it, play ball, tug, everything, give it some food, do everything that the dog loves, and put that dog up, and when you get that second dog out that wasn't doing it before, all of a sudden it goes, hell yeah, I want it.
I want that too, yeah.
Yeah, I want some of that, you know. Mm-hmm. So, if you communicate to the dog, if there's something in it for him, you know, the mantra I've used for years is I don't make a dog do anything, I make the dog want to do everything.
Absolutely.
So, and that's not just genetics.
No. The whole thing, the whole key to this conversation we're having is communication.
Right, right.
Communicate, communicate, communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what you communicate to the dog. You can have a dog track, search and rescue, bite work, obedience, agility, and I guarantee, like Mr. Capel says here, one dog can do all those things. Mm-hmm. Dog is not just be a bite dog or an attack dog or a protection dog. Dog just doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be just an agility dog. It has to be a cow dog. Dogs want to learn.
Yeah.
They want to please you.
That's a good way to,
and
yeah.
by learning, the reward they get is just the satisfaction of being with you. Actually, dogs just love to be with you and want to please you.
Mm-hmm.
If they could talk, though. But anyway,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing,
And if there's a doubt in your mind, think of all the people you've seen on Facebook or social media complaining about their dog trying to, get in the shower with them. They just want to be with you 24/7. So when your dog doesn't come, when you call them, there's a communications problem there, because obviously you're the dog's favorite thing in the world, not their favorite person. You're that dog's favorite thing in the whole wide world. More than his meals, more than his toys, more than anything else he could have, more than his litter mates. The canine species is the only species of animal that will leave their own kind to be with a human.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see a horse cut out of the herd just because he sees his owner over there. That don't happen.
Mm-hmm.
You sure don't see a couple of bucking bulls come out of the herd to come get petted. Now they might come out of the herd and come after you, but
it's like
it's a different intent there.
Absolutely.
So that's all of these things are the qualities that may not be appreciated enough in dogs. That's what, and if you bring them together and take advantage of them, not only does your dog training become more efficient, it's really simple. And you know how you know it's simple?
How's that?
I figured it out. That's it.
I don't know about that, though.
Yeah, well, what else you got there on your fancy machine?
Just like going back to the myths. It's like there are no bad dogs, only bad owners.
Mm-hmm.
Owner isn't 100% responsible for his action of his dogs.
Right, exactly.
He's not, because there's at least 40% we talked about that's genetically infused in the dog. But that 60%, how you treat your dog, how you talk to your dog, what you do with your dog, if you interact with your dog, makes a big difference in how your dog will turn out.
Right.
But there are things, nature, that you can't change.
It's true. That's true.
So, some of the dog's behaviors are based off the genetics of the dog.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. The people who complain about, we got a border collie, Australian Shepherd, because it's real smart, but it's running around biting my kids' heels all the time.
It's just part of the dog.
Yeah. These are the instincts we talked about last week's podcast. If you want to know the difference between an instinct and a drive, that's what we discussed.
Yeah. How about dogs bred for aggression?
Okay, how about them?
Certain breeds are I can't say that word, inherently dangerous. Inherently? Inherited. The French come out of me again. Like I said, Doberman, Shepherds, Pit Bulls. Some of them dogs are just mean. Actually, they were bred. Dogs are bred for a certain. Dobermans were what they're bred for. Shepherds. Actually, Shepherds were herding dogs.
Yeah, exactly. That's what people don't think about, but they're all herding dogs.
Pitties are just little little dudes. But it's also the nurturing of the dog that takes place. But even though the dogs are nurtured today, the Pit Bulls, Dobermans, most Shepherds, the dogs aren't used the way they were used back in the 40s, 50s, World War II, whatever.
Right.
The dogs are much more mellow now. Mm-hmm. The dogs have changed. The dogs, we can get into genetics later, but the whole body structure of these dogs have changed. They're not the way they used to be. But in the 80s, y'all know Magnum P.I., Zeus and Apollo would chase them around Higgins, Master Robbins complex and peel out in the Ferrari, and them dogs were always trying to get him. And I used to watch as a kid, and I said, they're going to get him this time, because them dogs were going to get him. And that they gave him a bad conception, a false conception of what actually those dogs are.
Right.
But,
and if you it just now occurred to me, I love when Scott gets off on a rant. I always think of something different here. So we're talking about genetics, right? And so what do we actually control what characteristics in a dog do we control in our breeding program that we know we are controlling? we know we're successful when we get it. Well, we know we can breed them so tall. We can put this many colors in them. We can get the ones that have, prick ears or flop ears. We can get all these physical characteristics. We know we can breed them that are just high energy.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. But what else do we know? Do we know we can breed one who will always track a squirrel or a man? We can't. We don't know that.
Mm-mm.
We can't really. We find the ones that are doing what we want them to do.
And you recognize the traits of dogs. You can see them when you breed them. You know what you got. But like you always say, it's not a blank slate. It's a pile of clay. And you start spinning that wheel, and it's behavioral. That is nurturing.
There you go.
The 40% of nature we do know with our dogs that we breed here, we know what we're getting. But the nurturing comes from within.
Right.
You can see certain dogs have tendencies and everything else from the genetics. But to get them to where they need to be, like you said, any athlete or anything else in the world, it takes work.
Absolutely.
And the right kind of nurturing is important.
Yep.
It's all about the dogs. It's always been about the dogs.
Yep.
How you get a dog where it needs to be, you have to, like kids, you got to push them up.
Push them up. Yeah. And it goes back to my favorite thing when I first started thinking about teaching people about dogs, the things I've learned about dogs over the years. The earliest, write a book. People kept saying, write a book, and then do a podcast and all this stuff, do YouTube. And the first thing I thought of when I started to do some little videos, I used to do a couple of videos I'd sell to people. It comes down to this. Today we have harnesses, and we have slip chains, and we have choke chains, and we have electric collars, and we have...
Don't cuss around here.
Don't cuss. And we have more gadgets than you can shake a snake at. But the caveman didn't have them kind of gadgets.
He had a club.
He had a club.
For wife and dog.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, I can tell you a story about that. Oh, Lordy, that's a whole
Stay tuned next week
deal.
for that story.
All you folks in Holland, let me know.
Is that why they get wooden shoes?
Well, where was it? So if the caveman could get this partnership going and benefited him, the old wolves and everything, they had noses. They could find the game for that caveman, and that caveman had them spears, and they could take out them big old tyrannosauruses, and they could share it with the wolf that brought them there. Mm-hmm. So if the caveman could figure out how to get along with and get a job done with one of them wild wolves, that means that the basic component need of anyone to train a dog today is you got to be at least as smart as a caveman.
So what you're saying is, it's really not that hard. People put things that make it so hard and makes it complicated. It's not complicated at all.
No.
And if you can actually figure out, I figured it out. I actually did. I was thinking my dogs, I had my big one. I was trying to do this, that, and the other, and this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden, it hit me. I should have been a caveman to begin with. No, actually, it's really simple. It's the simple things in life that are turned complicated because people want to, it's not about us, it's about the dogs, period. Mm-hmm. And once you can figure that out, like you're saying, if you go back that far and actually think about it, it don't take much to get a dog to love you.
That's right.
Do what you want to do.
And I'll leave y'all with one thought, and you can use this for finding future trainers and such as that. There's an old saying amongst, I guess, sailors and Boy Scouts and old cowboys, if you can't tie a knot, tie a lot, right? So one way you can tell if you've got a person who's a dog man versus a obedience trainer, let's say, because there's a difference. There's people who learn a skill like getting Kennel Club obedience titles or getting Schutzen titles, and they're great Schutzen trainers. May not know nothing about a dog, but they know step 1, 2, 3, and 4 to get a dog in a certain position to go on the field and get a point.
They don't know nothing about no damn dog.
Don't know nothing about a dog.
Good doesn't mean damn.
And you
I'm
know,
just saying, you know what I'm
right.
saying. It gets me mad because they don't even know it. You need to feel a dog. It's part of you. Make it part of you. Make it part of your life. It's part of your family.
Mm-hmm.
And once you can feel a dog and feel it and look at its eyes and know what he's thinking or know what he's going to do, it changes the whole game.
Right.
And that's just the truth for me. No opinion. That's what I know.
And what you know when you found a dog man versus a obedience trainer or a bite work trainer or this trainer or that trainer, when they can't tie a knot, so they talk a lot. If they can't explain it to, remember this, if they can't explain it to your 6th grade daughter, son, kid, then they're just talking a lot. And that's probably not going to get you anywhere. Dog training is simple, it's basic. And people who understand that are doing things pretty simply and basically. So,
And get the results they need.
and get the results they need.
And the results where the customers expect.
That's right. So remember, you don't need gadgets. You don't need a whole lot of fancy stuff. You just need a little bit of common sense, a strong feeling for an animal that's just trying to understand you, and you can go straight to the top of the moon with whatever you want to do with dogs, right, Scott?
The Everest ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm. Which reminds me, we're going to start up our pro sports will be coming back after a COVID deal. So
A question, Mr. Butch.
yes, maybe we're going to stick around a little longer.
We're almost out of time here.
What we got?
Has anybody answered our trivia question from 2 weeks ago?
Great. Oh man, I'm glad you thought of that because I've been getting some emails about that. Okay, so here was the trivia question.
Yeah, buddy.
We know that when a dog is hungry, Pavlov rings a bell, they salivate, right? A dog, one of the indicators, remember, involuntary responses are accompany drives. When a dog's in defense drive and he's fixing to stand and fight over flight, he's going to choose fight. We have one strong physical indication, and that's going to be the drool. Especially prominent in Rotties, Mastiffs, dogs like with big fleas. So why does a dog drool when he's fixing to take out something that's trying to kill him and salivate when he's fixing to eat? Obviously, it's two different things.
Absolutely.
We had some great people guessing stuff on, you can go look at the comments on the page. It's real simple. Remember, everything a dog does has an exact purpose. It's real easy if you really think about it. It's really simple. They salivate because that's a predigestive action. It starts moistening the food. They drool, and there's actually a difference in the consistency between salivation and drool. Salivation can drip. You've seen it, right?
Yes, sir.
When they drool,
Quite a
it's
bit.
like egg yolks or
Just
like oil.
Egg whites. Just
Yeah. And the reason it's so thick is because the drool is coating their teeth, and as it coats their teeth, if they're in a fight for their life, when they bite, that's extra lubrication for the sharp teeth to really slide into the body part of whatever they're fighting. So drooling before, and that's the best indication their dog has made his mind up that he's going to stand his ground and fight you if you're looking at defense drive. Drooling is to make the bite more efficient, to lubricate the teeth so they sink in deeper. And with that, I will.
Good. Now we'll have another one lined up this week. I thought we had a winner. I didn't know we didn't have anybody win it.
No,
So
we have a winner,
so we'll have another one next week for you.
Yeah,
And
we'll bring up another trivia question.
yep. I love these non-internet finders.
Non-internet. I got one for everybody next. I got one for everybody next week that everybody knows the answer. They think we'll throw it at
All
you
right.
next week. Join us, folks. Hope you enjoy.